Hey,
All right, here we are. How's it going?
pretty good, man. How about yourself?
It's going well. Man, when we started Monumental, it's been about a year now and coming up on a year, and we didn't know what it was going to be. We still don't know exactly what it is. And at the same time, it's been good because we've been able to do some cool things with our groups and with the movement, if you will, and have some fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think like it not being something concrete, it's still being having that freedom to evolve into something and just be what it has to be. I think it's really cool. And getting everyone together, people wanting to show up for something's really awesome too. So yeah, man.
It's pretty cool because a lot of times when people get together, when they leave the house, maybe they go to a bar or restaurant, they just shoot the breeze about whatever,
Mhm.
right? Netflix, or even if they are talking about business, it's not always going deeper than that. And that's what I'm really proud that we were able to do. And even the last time there was some feedback about that, where, the guy goes out with his friends and they talk a lot and they don't necessarily talk about things that move the needle. So we've done different topics on those things with regards to goal setting or doubt, and then recently we did discipline, which was really cool because, like we say, we don't have all the answers. And in the case of discipline, I feel like I fall pretty low on that being a skill of mine, and I took a lot away from the last meetup.
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of key takeaways from what we talked about?
I think the biggest thing was that well, actually there's a lot of big things, but even just to touch on the discipline thing quickly, like there's different areas of our lives that we can be disciplined in one spot and then maybe not necessarily lack discipline in another area, but being unfamiliar on how to channel that somewhere else. Right. So I would say that there are areas where I can really, really be super disciplined, right? If it has anything to do with, any type of physical experience, I'm in. Like I will go through it, no problem. But then there's other areas of my life where I don't know how to channel that yet. And I think a lot of what we talked about in the mastermind really, really opened my eyes on what can be done and what are some of the necessary things um, that that would help move that discipline into another area of my life. Um, One of them being that we have our goals, we have our purpose, we have our why, however it is that we want to label it, that thing that's going to remind us of why we're doing something, right?
Yeah.
That if we treat it as a destination, so to say, even though this is a journey, life is always a journey, we're always learning, we treat that as a destination. The actions that we take, those are the vehicle to get to that destination, and discipline being the fuel behind everything. And it was really awesome the way everybody worked together and had a conversation in a way that you can get to that point where, all right, we're mapping something out that you
Yeah.
really can't see. So being able to do that and being able to do that with other people who want to sit and talk about things like that and not talk about people, not talk about events in the world, right? That was awesome. Right? I really enjoyed that.
And we steered things back on track because one person's name was mentioned. I will mention who they were here, and we were all quick to be like, you know what, let's leave that out of this room. Let's focus on things that we can control.
Yeah.
And discipline is something that is completely in our control, whether
Yeah.
it's what we do or what we say, what we talk about. I mean, that all is rooted in discipline. What I really like, and what was a great reminder for me from the last session, was such an emphasis on the why. I mean, that being the core of things. So even if it comes down to something like finances and wanting to create more money in your life, whether it's passive, active towards financial freedom, you got to resort to why you're doing it.
Mhm.
Because if it's just this idea that you have, I'd like to have a lot of money, and you don't have the goal behind how much it is, and you don't know why you're doing it, it's easy to start doing things with your money or not doing things with your money that aren't going to service your why,
Yeah.
or even worse, it might take away from it.
Mhm.
So keeping that why always in mind, knowing that it's important enough. Because I talk to people all the time where they want to leave their jobs, right? And their why for leaving their jobs is because they want more freedom with their kids. So if they can think about their kids every time they're going to do something, so if they're looking at um, investing their time into learning a new skill, well, maybe if they don't have a clear why, it's not as much of a priority to them. But if they're thinking about their kids and time with their kids and how much they can add to that, or the opposite of having to work until they're 65 and having limited time with their kids. I saw a graph the other day. It was like as you get older, literally it's less time you spend with your kids, which seems obvious. And that also means that, if your kid is 18, that means you've had 18 summers with them. And if you count up, maybe they're 19 and they're going to be moving out, that means one more summer. So
Yeah.
time is so important. And when we look at something like kids, and I have a 2.5-year-old, as you know, and some people who are watching this might know that as well, that is the most important thing. So when we can think about our why, maybe it's our kids, for example, that can keep us on track and keep us disciplined through this entire journey. And like you said, it is a journey. We're not perfect. Do you remember the analogy about the map and traffic
Yeah.
from
Yeah. There was someone there who used this example multiple times, even on the previous event, where let's say you're in Toronto and you want to go to Wasaga Beach and you get stuck in traffic going up the 400, or you get stuck in traffic on the 26. Regardless, traffic sucks. It's really uncomfortable. Everybody hates it. At some point, you're going to get to where you're going, right? Can you just sit through the traffic, right? Instead of turning back home and saying, you know what, the weekend's a write off. I can't do this anymore because this little period of time of me sitting in traffic really sucks. But your objective is to get to Wasaga Beach. And it's it's a small example, but once you really look at everything like that, it's the same thing. And what I really learned as of recently, even before this, so there's the motivation to do something, but that's fleeting. Like that'll disappear in like
mm,
2 days after doing something, and then the discipline is the real thing that's going to keep you going, right? That's the fuel. That's the thing that keeps the fire going.
yeah, and then we talked about like where that discipline comes from. And I
Mhm.
love the analogy because I've had a couple things since we had our mastermind session where it was a little bump in the road and it was a little frustrating
Mhm.
and it took discipline to stay on track. And in my head, I just said, oh, just a little bit of traffic,
Yeah.
just a little bit of traffic because I'm still going that direction. And yeah, when you get traffic, you don't just turn around and go home. You have to keep going.
Mhm.
And that's what we do. What what were some things that we were talking about in terms of shares that people could implement? Because I had a couple that I wrote down here, and again, little reminders. I'll share one of them, and it
Yeah.
was another attendee that brought this up because we were also looking at ways to say discipline from the area of just how we show up in our daily lives. And the thing they said, I'm just looking for on my notes here. He said, yeah, every time you wake up in the morning, find something to laugh or smile about. And it's so simple.
Mhm.
And it's also so easy not to do. I mean, a lot of people will wake up first thing. I'm also guilty of this. What do? Look at their phones,
Yeah.
right? Pull up Instagram. And what do you see? You might see some negative news, or you might see something that has you have an envious thought in your head because of the highlight reel of social media. And instead of doing all that and looking externally, look within and like, okay, what makes me smile? You know, what's funny? For me, the other day, I had that where I wanted to come up with something that made me laugh and smile. And I just thought of when my son and I went to the zoo with my wife. It was a couple months ago now. He'll still reference buffalo poop because he watched a buffalo take a massive poop.
Nice.
And to me, he's laughing when he says it. I'm laughing because it's a funny thing that he remembered and took away. And
Yeah.
that was how I started my day. And so it just changes how you approach things because life can be great and it also can be very stressful. So if we start our days with a laugh or a smile, I thought that was a really great small piece to implement into daily life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the important thing for you, that example specifically, is you tying in that laughter and wanting to be happy and joyful about something that came from your why. And that
Yeah.
came from your purpose or goal or whatever that may be. So you're combining those two things together. Um, and then one of the other things is as soon as you wake up, in addition to that, is keeping your goals or whatever it is in plain sight. And I did this, and it's when you wake up in the morning, you do look at that, you say, oh yeah, because it's
Mm.
pretty easy, like you said, to wake up and go for your phone and invest your thoughts and your mind into other people's things and all the curated images that we see on social media. Then again, you could open Instagram and see something that's funny as hell, but right, right, because there's some times I wake up and I look, I'm like, this is hilarious. I got to share this with my friends. But having that thing in plain sight, you wake up, you know what you're going after that day or that period of time, whatever it may be. So I find it helpful, honestly. I really do. There are some days where I forget to look at it, but um that's where the discipline and the practice are gonna have to come into play here.
And that's the piece here. It's like we're all fallible human beings, right? We're not perfect. We all make mistakes. Even the most powerful and smartest people in the world go through their own things. And that's actually what has helped me hear very successful people, people I look up to, guys like Chris Williamson, Alex Hormozy, they openly talk about challenges that they have. And when we get together in a safe space like our Monumental Masterminds, it's a way for high performers to share and be transparent to then get input and
Yeah.
perspective so that they can improve. And out of that, we get to benefit as well as the host of the event. Another one I like that was said was one hand makes no sound. One hand makes no sound.
Mhm.
And so people can, you know, interpret that in different ways that they want. But that idea that, and I'm not actually sure how it related to discipline exactly. It was just a line that made so much sense. So when you come together with people, if it's only one hand not doing much, but together, obviously we can make sound
Mhm.
together. So I thought that was a cool one that came out of the session as well.
Yeah, yeah. Even though it wasn't like specifically a discipline thing, it's a byproduct of us getting together and people who are attending understanding the value of having other people around you, not necessarily like-minded people, but people who are focused on growth, right? Because having those multiple perspectives, I find it actually so much better to be around rather than everybody who's the exact same as me. Because where's the growth? Where's the discomfort, right?
A- And
Oh,
the thing is, they are like-minded people for that. Just
yeah,
because not everyone's a real estate investor, for instance, everyone has their own thing to bring to the table. Maybe it's an artist, maybe it's someone in the financial sector,
yeah,
maybe it's
yeah,
someone who is, deep into faith
yeah.
with God and religion.
Mhm.
And we can still come together because it's about the human and how the human operates through all of these things. And the skills are transferable to any industry, if you will.
Mhm.
It's there's really no boundary to where you can implement things, like discipline, for instance, as the topic was.
Yeah, yeah, and I had also shared when we had met up before I even got there, I was listening to it's a pastor that I listened to as a podcast. I believe it was Preston Morrison. I can't remember if it was his or someone else's, but it was it was almost as if it was a prophetic word of you don't have to do everything by yourself.
Mm.
You don't have to go alone, and having other people around you is almost necessary, right? Well, you can do things by yourself, but once you lean on someone else, maybe that's the reason why you're connected with someone else. That's the reason why this person showed up, right? And
Yeah.
then they offer a little tidbit of information, and then that clicks with you. right? And then everyone just starts thinking together, and it's opened my eyes because I'm very much somewhat of an introvert where I like to be alone. I like to do things alone, but it's it's starting to change the way I think, where I want to be around other people. I want to help other people, and I'm also interested in what I can gain from other people, but not in a selfish manner of what's going to make me better so I can serve someone else. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
In fact, a few of my mentors recently did a big hike to Mount Kilimanjaro
yeah.
and posted about it with the quote of if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Hmm.
And so we can do things by ourselves really quickly. When it comes to sustainability and long term, it is good to have that group and that support, even to bounce ideas off each other. I
Yeah.
know for you and I, we do a lot of thinking, and a lot of my close friends who are in real estate, finances, and the market trading successfully, they also do a lot of personal development and a lot of thought. And sometimes it can get lonely up here.
Hmm.
It can get pretty lonely because we are hard on ourselves and we have a high standard. So when we can get together with other people to share, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, you're going through that too?
Hmm.
What do you do to cope? What do you do to handle it and manage it?
Hmm.
And then sharing ideas that way. Because there was that came up about what do we do to help with discipline. Accountability groups came up.
Hmm.
And I had a different take on it. There's no right or wrong with any of this. And like I said, we're not perfect and there's no, uh, perfect answer for anything. What were your thoughts on accountability groups when it came to discipline or when it comes to discipline?
Initially, I'm not a fan of accountability groups, or more so just, and this is where I have to have that change, or where I have been having that change in thought is I don't want to rely on someone else to keep me accountable for something. I want to keep myself accountable. But then it's that thing of I don't have to do it by myself, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there is that little bit of accountability from someone else. Maybe someone checking in every now and then saying, "Hey, how's this going?" And because maybe in the past, what it was is if someone's checking in on me to ask me how something's going, I'd get frustrated that they'd be asking me that. But
Mm,
now I'm understanding like they are doing it to be helpful, and they're doing it to keep you on track of what you said, maybe keeping you to stick with the word that you gave to something that you were going to do or something that you said. And we talked about that too. Basically tying that back into discipline, it's the word that you keep to yourself and the word that you give to someone else. um so I'm coming around to the idea of accountability, and maybe not necessarily in a group chat form because I'm just really
yeah.
not a fan of group chats, but I think even this monumental itself can be that, right? If there are
Yeah,
people who attend regularly, we're going to be hearing the same stories and observing people's progress, and that in itself is an accountability group without it being formally an accountability group, right?
exactly. I think the accountability group idea is a tool,
Hmm.
right? That you can leverage when you need it, just not as the be all end all that you rely upon.
Right.
Right? That discipline does have to need to should come from within. Because if we're waiting on external factors to help
Hmm.
us stay on track, that's probably not sustainable. So that's when we look deep to stay on track and then do things that we know work for us. When it comes to accountability groups or looking at our why, reminding ourselves of our vision long term, that all can keep us on track to stay disciplined, to keep moving forward with what we want to do.
Yeah, I think the more we do this, the more we're learning how to keep ourselves accountable and keep each other accountable. Um, because it does all come from within. And I think the biggest thing that we didn't really touch on yet, and that's the foundation of everything. We talked about thinking and thoughts, and the way you were mentioning where you hit a couple bumps, and then you said, "Oh no, this is just traffic. This is just traffic." Where it's the discipline of thought is everything, because it all starts in how we think.
Hmm.
Right? Everybody says everything's mental, everything's mindset, and all that. It's cliche, but man, it's true. Right?
So
It's so
true.
true. What you know when you can find a way to really just step back and calm yourself, and then oh wait, everything's clear now. Everything kind of makes sense. It's like you draw yourself away from all the nonsense, and that takes practice. And I honestly really think that takes discipline. The more I do it, the more I understand how it works. And obviously, we're still figuring it out. We're still trying to understand ourselves. Not trying, we are understanding ourselves.
Working to,
Working to understand ourselves more and more each day, such as that, right? Being disciplined with the words that we use too. Um,
and for context for anyone that's watching this, the idea of trying is almost presenting yourself with an escape plan, a way to default in order to not do something. So instead of saying try, we work on our language to always move forward that we are doing something, not trying to do something. You
mhm.
know, we're not trying to run a mastermind. We are running a mastermind.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's growing and it's becoming something. So I yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great. And it's important to keep ourselves, I don't want to say thinking in a certain way, thinking in the right way. There's a lot of ton of books, a lot, there's actually a lot of science behind it too. That's taking some time to digest and understand as well. But how everything starts with how we think and
Mhm.
how we can create our entire lives, right? To think is to create. We've heard that. A lot of people know what we're talking about when we say that. But yeah, discipline of thought. That's becoming my focus. Well, faith is the focus, but becoming the focus on what I can do because that's what I'm in control of.
And you know, with these sessions too, and this was another line that an internet personality had shared before. It's not that we don't know what we're supposed to do. Sometimes we just need a reminder.
Hmm.
So, in the case of discipline, we know that discipline is a good thing to have. And we know, so oftentimes, if we aren't doing something that is discipline, and we just need to be reminded about it. And so, when we have sessions like this, we can kind of look back in our own lives on that topic of discipline and say, okay, where have I not been being disciplined? Where can I be a little more disciplined?
Hmm.
And how can I do it?
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about this because us leaving with so many thoughts about it that we can implement also the other attendees that they put into it. It is really rewarding in that sense to know that there's a space for people to grow together and have conversations that they don't necessarily get the chance to have in most of their circles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I honestly, this time around, this one specifically about discipline and the solutions that we came up with is really when it clicked for me that we are thinking together and creating something together. And if we can all apply it immediately after or shortly after and keep ourselves accountable to it and keep talking
mm.
about it, then we're going to keep it fresh in our mind and we won't forget and we won't need to be reminded as often, at least, because we forget things. That's just a normal thing, right? So I I definitely took some big value from having these conversations. So everybody who showed up and contributed, if they're seeing this, thank you. And we're obviously in
Big
touch right
time.
now, so we can say thank you to them another time as well. But yeah, it's awesome. I want to keep doing this. It's for myself and for other people. I love it.
Yeah, this was great, man. I'm so glad we got to catch up and do a bit of a recap on the event. And of course, we're always looking to have more people
Oh yeah.
who think they could benefit from this. So we don't have a specific date, time, location, or topic yet. However, it's going to be in September once summer is over and things kind of get back to real life for some people. And so if anyone's watching this and would like to join us, just send Mike or I a message and we can keep you posted. Otherwise, just stay on top of social media. We will post different reminders once we announce the specifics of the event. And that way you can sign up through Eventbrite or, like I said, send us a message. And even if you have a topic idea
Yeah.
before we release it that you want to talk about, there's most likely a chance that somebody else in this type of circle is thinking it too. And so if it would benefit you, let us know, and we can add that if not to this week, to next month, perhaps another month down the road. So yeah,
Yeah.
this was good.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And if anyone wants to continue the conversation on discipline too, I think we'll stay open to that as well. I think it's really important to everything. That's one of the foundations of everything. So yeah.
Love it. Well,
Awesome.
that's all for now. And just as a reminder to everyone, we are Monumental.